Hello again guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Bank Angle Studios Alpe D'Huez Airport. I hope you enjoyed that scenic little introduction to Bank Angle Studios' latest scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. As you can see, we are currently on the ground at Alpe D'Huez Airport, which is located in the Rhône-Alpes region of southeastern France, and we'll be taking a short flight in the Robin DR400 Cadet out towards the airfield at La Salette. I'm sure that many of you are familiar with La Salette as it recently featured as one of the Microsoft Flight Simulator landing challenges. We'll spend the day on the hills and then we'll return later on this evening to Alpe D'Huez. Really, the aim of this video is to showcase the scenery from Bank Angle Studios. It's a new release from them and they're very kindly offering viewers a 10% discount on the scenery at the moment, using the code Into the Blue. So if you do like what you see and you fancy picking it up, then I highly recommend using the code. I'll leave a link down in the video description below. Anyway guys, as always, I do hope that you enjoy the flight. If you do, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. If you have any comments or questions for me, you can leave those down in the comments section below. Let's now get ourselves sat down and comfortable in the Robin and we'll get the aircraft started up. So welcome to Bank Angle Studios' rather beautiful Alpe D'Huez Airport. As you can see, both the airport itself and indeed the surrounding terrain are really rather stunning, certainly right up there with the likes of Courchevel. We're currently being the École de Montagne and the Aero Club de Dauphine. I presume that roughly translates to the School of Mountain Flying, and I'm informed by one of our viewers that the Aero Club de Dauphine does a really rather excellent burger. Can't say that I've tried it myself, but apparently if you're in the area it's well worth a try. Anyway, as I mentioned, we are in the Robin DR400 Cadet. We're going to take a quick trip over to Notre Dame La Salette. So as usual, we'll run through all of the relevant checklists. The before start checklist then, the flaps are up, parking brake is on, radio master switch is off, all electrical switches are off, circuit breakers are checked in, ELT master is armed, master switch can come on, as can the alternator. Electric fuel pump can come on. Fuel quantity, we're showing 50% fuel capacity on board, which is a little bit over 50 litres. That's going to be more than enough to get us over towards La Salette and then back later on today. Fuel selector is in the open position. Mixture can come to fully rich. And we do see a rise in fuel pressure. Carburetor heat is off. For the start itself, the beacon can come on, as can the navigation lights. Propeller area is clear. Can't open the canopy, so we won't do a clear prop. Magneto will come on to the left for the start. It's quite funny that I've never come across an aircraft before where you start just on one magneto, and I've now come across two in the sim in as many weeks. Throttle, we'll pump that 3 times just to prime the engine. And then just crack the throttle for the start. Starter button, we can engage. And we have a good start. Oil pressure coming up. Bring the throttle in to idle around 1200 RPM. Max can come on to both now as well. Oil pressure is now in the green. And the after start checks, electric fuel pump can come off. Ammeter is checked, radio master switch can come on, nav aids and GPS not required, transponder can go to out. A little bit tricky to see there, but I think we're on out. No ATIS here, but the aerodrome elevation 6,103 feet, so the altimeter is set. And we can call up traffic 120.6. One little issue with the scenery at the moment, you can currently only select runway 06 via the ATC menu, which is fine for landing, but we'll also be taking off on 24. Anyway, we'll announce our taxi. We'll be departing out to the south later on.
Lima Foxtrot Hotel Uniform Traffic Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra is taxiing to runway 06.
So the holding point just off at our 1 o'clock there. Take the park brake off. You can see there's not much going on in terms of the wind at the moment, but the wind is slightly favouring runway 24. As there's not much wind anyway, and we want to avoid blasting everybody with our prop wash, we'll just turn the aircraft around. We'll point the tail roughly at the runway. So we'll just swing ourselves around here. Park brake can come on. Bring the throttle back up once again. And the before takeoff checks, flight controls. Are full, free and in the correct sense. Fuel, again showing 50% capacity. Selector is on, mixture is fully rich. We'll bring that down later on for the takeoff. Carb heat is off. Trim. We're just inside the takeoff band at the moment. We'll just trim a little bit nose down just to get us a little bit closer with inside the envelope there. Flight instruments are checked. Directional gyro, we're showing a heading of around 319 and about the same on the compass. Flaps, so there's takeoff flap and they are symmetrical, and landing flap and showing the same. We'll come back to the takeoff flap setting. Seats are locked, belts are fastened, canopy is closed. For the run up then we'll come up to 2000 RPM. And checking the magneto, so checking the left first. And we have about a 100 RPM drop on the left, back to both. And on to the right. Same again, and back to both. Carburetor heat we'll check. And about 125 RPM drop, but the carb heat is working. Mixture. We'll adjust that slightly for the takeoff. And suction. That's in the green. Coming back to idle. Just come up slightly more there on the mixture. And we're idling around 600, 550 RPM there, so that checks. Back up to 1200. So for the takeoff, the electric fuel pump can come on. Lights are on. Flaps, we are set for takeoff. Park brake can come off. We'll get ourselves lined up on the runway. Plenty of room to swing back around here. Just use a little bit of brake to tighten up the turn. And we'll call for takeoff, departing out to the south.
Lima Foxtrot Hotel Uniform Traffic Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra taking off runway 06 south departure.
Can't see anyone coming in on runway 06, there shouldn't be anyone coming in from 24 direction. So feet are off the brakes. As you can see, it's going to be a pretty short sharp drop initially from the takeoff on runway 24. Should be good fun. So coming all the way up to full power for the takeoff. T's and P's looking good. RPM's checked, a little bit low there, but we are high altitude. And down the ski jump we go. Easing back on the controls. And we're up. So we want to maintain around 6,000 feet as that's the altitude we're going to come into La Salette at anyway. So we'll just trim the aircraft off to maintain strain level here. We'll keep the power at full until we've built up some decent airspeed. Flaps can come up. And initially just tracking straight ahead down the valley. Keep an eye on those T's and P's. Speed's coming up a little bit now, which is nice. 6,000 feet. Cruise power, we're looking for around 2,500 RPM, so we'll just come back slightly on the power there. Looks to be about right. We'll get the fuel pump off now. Fuel quantity looks good. We don't have an EGT gauge in the aircraft, so we just have to lean roughly by ear. So we'll just keep coming back on the mixture until we start to hear the engine running a little bit rough, and then we'll come back up again. So that should just about do us. Once again, a really stunning area of the Alps. Well worth visiting, even if you don't fancy picking up the scenery itself. Anyway, we'll just come left to follow the contours of this valley just out at our 11 o'clock. We'll basically follow that all the way around to La Salette itself. A few bumps here as we come through the hills. One of the really nice things about the Robin is it actually has really good visibility, as you can see. Not really very much blocking your view at all. It's a really nice aircraft. It's actually one of the better aircraft in the sim, I have to say. Systems wise, it's all pretty much complete. It flies quite nicely. Of course, I'm referring to one of the better default aircraft in the sim. So that power setting looks good. It's giving us about 180 kilometers an hour. Fairly slow cruise, but again we are higher altitude, so the Robin probably struggling a little bit to give us the power that we want. So as I say, destination's just over the other side of these hills. Basically we're going to fly over that ridge line that you can see off at our 1 o'clock and then come around from the south. Obviously only one landing direction available at La Salette as well. Getting some sink here off the hills, so just correcting for that. we really do want to stay around 6,000 feet. We're going to need to be at 6,000 feet anyway for the approach into La Salette, and at this altitude it's pretty hard to get the aircraft to want to climb, certainly at any sort of decent airspeed. So we're only a few miles away from La Salette in terms of our direct distance to run. We'll tune up traffic now. It's 122.9. And we'll be landing out to the south, so runway 19. Full stop landing, we'll just make a position report.
Lima Foxtrot Papa Sierra traffic Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra 4 miles north, 6,000 feet inbound to land runway 19er.
Not sure if that's the hill for La Salette. I don't think it is. I think it's a little bit further around the corner by the looks of the map. In fact, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not. So just continue around the corner. I think the airstrip is a little bit further into the mountains here. We'll try and get a good view of the monastery as well on the way past. So you can just see Notre Dame La Salette now, just off at our 10 o'clock. Might be a little bit tricky for you to make out at the moment, but it's just below the tops of the ridge lines there. Just on the little bit of mountain jutting out towards the southwest. Try and get a good view as we go past, as I mentioned. And so we'll just follow that around, follow the road basically. That'll take us almost in a nice little traffic pattern towards the airstrip itself. Make another position report.
Lima Foxtrot Papa Sierra traffic Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra 1 miles south, 6,000 feet inbound to land runway 19er.
There you can just see the strip down below us. Anyway, we'll do our downward checks, so brakes are off and checked, undercarriage is down, mixture will leave, fuel quantity is checked, fuel pump can come on, instruments are checked, landing light is not required, harness is secure. So you can see the church a little bit more clearly now. Anyway, we'll come back on the power, we'll start configuring for the landing. So we'll take one stage of flap. And as I say, personally I just like to follow the road around all the way to the strip. Find that tends to work out pretty well. And I like to carry a little bit of extra speed down the approach. It just gives us a bit more energy for the flare, helps get that nose up to account for the slope. And obviously with the significant slope there, it should be pretty easy to get the aircraft stopped. So coming back on the controls, holding the aircraft off. Let's touch down. We'll keep our speed up initially, just to make sure we get over the crest of the hill. And coming on the brakes now, we'll swing the aircraft around as quickly as we can, just to avoid getting stuck down the lower end of the hill there. And we'll swing ourselves all the way around, just to point us facing out towards the rather spectacular scenery. Park brake can come on. And just bring the engine to idle around 1200 RPM again. Afterland checks. Carburetor heat is off. Electric fuel pump can come off. Transponder can come back to off. Trim is set to neutral. Flaps are up. And the shutdown check. Throttle will come back to 1000 RPM. Parking brake is set, radio master switch can come off. All electrical switches can come off. Mixture will move to the idle cut-off position. And we have a good shutdown, so throttle back to idle. Magnetos can come off. Alternator and master switch can come off. And that's the shutdown checklist complete. We'll stop here for a spot of virtual lunch, and then if you're interested in joining, we'll be heading back to Alpe D'Huez later on today. So welcome back to the cockpit of the Robin DR400 Cadet. As you can see, we spent a very pleasant day on the hills, but the sun is now getting rather low on the horizon, so we better get the aircraft back up in the air and headed home towards Alpe D'Huez before we lose the daylight conditions. We've already carried out all of the startup and the run-up checks, so we are ready to go. We'll just call up traffic and tell them we're departing out to the south. That'll be off the northerly runway.
Lima Foxtrot, Papa Sierra traffic, Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra, taking off runway 1 departure to the south.
So park brake can come off, we'll swing the aircraft around. Just use some brake to tighten up the turn there. It's a pretty limited manoeuvring area here at La Salette. And as you can see, a very limited takeoff run as well, so I think what we'll do, we'll run the engine up to full power on the brakes. So it's full power, T's and P's look good, RPM is checked, feet off the brakes. Obviously gravity is going to do a lot of the work again initially for us. And just gently starting to come back on the controls. We're up, there goes the stall warner, we are right on the edge of the stall at the moment. We'll turn out towards the east initially just to get away from the high terrain. And we'll trade a little bit of altitude for airspeed as well initially. Once we clear the hills, we'll get the flaps up, that will help a little bit with our performance. So flaps can come up. And now turning out towards the south, following the valley out towards the lower terrain. We'll try and climb away around 150 kilometers an hour. Aircraft feeling much more responsive now, of course, that we've got some decent airflow going over the controls. And we'll try and claw our way up to around 7,000 feet this time. That's the aerodrome elevation at Alpe D'Huez is 6,000 feet, and really, of course, we want to be above that. Anyway, just leaving La Salette airstrip behind us off to the right. Fuel pump can come off now. We'll leave the mixture where it is for now. We'll lean off once we're at 7,000 feet. And really just retracing our steps all the way home. Everything looking rather different now that the sun is pretty low on the horizon out to the west. All looking a little bit more calm and tranquil. I think the sim does a really good job of recreating those sort of late evening conditions. So once again we'll head northwest initially back through this little cutting in the hills, just to shave a few track miles off our flight. Still avoid the worst of the high terrain. T's and P's still looking good. Fuel's looking good. And just leaving the monastery behind us as well. So the aircraft's struggling a little bit now for climb performance. Have to trade a few more knots there for a little bit of climb speed. And cutting back down into the valley in which we arrived from. That'll take us all the way back towards Alpe D'Huez. As ever, the hill's looking absolutely stunning there with the sunset. So we're just coming around the corner, exiting the valley. You can actually already make out the Alpe D'Huez runway just off at our 1 o'clock. You can see the hills behind, of course. So we'll tune up traffic again. It's 1206. And we'll make a position report. This time, of course, we will be coming in on runway 06.
Lima Foxtrot Hotel Uniform Traffic Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra 7 miles southwest, 7,000 feet inbound to land, runway 06.
So we'll just keep flying in our present heading for now, just to clear again the slightly higher terrain between us and the airfield, and then we'll turn inbound towards the strip. So just turning now inbound towards the strip. We'll get the downwind checks out of the way, so brakes are checked and off, undercarriage is down. Mixture, again we'll leave that in its present position for now. Fuel pump can come on. Fuel quantity is sufficient. We're down to almost 25% fuel now, so a little bit over, probably around 30 litres. Instruments are checked, landing light is not required, harness is secure. We won't start configuring for the landing just yet, we're still quite a ways from the field. We will call final though, as we're on a pretty long extended final.
Lima Foxtrot Hotel Uniform Traffic Robin Golf, India Tango Bravo Sierra is on final runway 06 to land.
And again, just a little bit of light chop in the evening air coming off the hills. We'll start coming back on the power now. We will start bleeding off some speed and we'll take the first stage of flap. Now we'll just come slightly up on the mixture. We won't go fully rich, but again we'll just increase it slightly in case we did need any takeoff power for the go-around. That being said, go-around options are going to be pretty limited in the Robin. It's a bit like Courchevel. Unlike with the Turbo Arrow, where we had plenty of opportunities to get ourselves out of trouble, I think you'd struggle to do a go-around in the Robin at this altitude. So we'll try not to mess up the landing. And once again we'll aim to be just a little bit on the high side. Much easier to do that than end up getting low. Take landing flap. We'll start bleeding off some more airspeed with the extra drag. Pitches full fine, undercarriage is down, flaps are set, landing clearance is not required, the runway is clear. And similar to La Salette, I find it helps to take a little bit of extra airspeed, which again we can afford to take with the upsloping runway. If anything, we're probably going to need it to get up the slope. And again, you can see the really nice scenery. They've got all of the ski lifts and the ski chalets model, things of that nature. Still a little bit of a tailwind on runway 06 at the moment, but not an issue for us. See the golf course just out on the left of the runway. And flaring the aircraft, a little bit of a float, holding her off. There's touchdown. Keep some power on just to get us over the crest of the hill. And now coming off the power, gently on the brakes. Vacating off to the left. So we've just got the aircraft parked up once again. The after landing checks, the carb heat is off, electric fuel pump can come off, transponder is off, trim will reset, flaps are up, throttle is at 1000 RPM, parking brake is set, radio master can come off, all electrical switches are off, mixture can come to idle cutoff, and we have a good shutdown, so we'll turn the ignition off, throttle can come back to idle, alternator can come off, as can the battery. So there you go guys, I do hope that you enjoyed our day trip out in the Robin, roaming around the French Alps. Once again, it's a really stunning region with an absolute plethora of very interesting airports, Alpe D'Huez being just one of them. Again, if you do like the scenery from Bank Angle Studios and you are considering picking it up, currently they are offering all channel viewers a 10% discount using the code INTOTHEBLUE. Again, I'll leave a link down to their website in the video description below, and well worth heading over and taking a look even if you aren't considering purchasing the scenery, as they do have a freeware airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator available there as well. As always guys, if you did enjoy the flight then please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. If you have any comments or questions for me, you can leave those down in the comment section below, and I'll always do my best to answer them. But for now, thank you very much, and I'll see you all again soon.